Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. Look, I've gone and pulled one out the bag, haven't I? I've gone and graciously grabbed Aanu from our lovely Love is Blind. I mean, the UK version was a sweet one, and it was very interesting. I know a lot of my American audience, we were watching it together. We were gasping, we were crying, we were... Okay, I wasn't crying. I'm lying. I'm playing with you guys. I wasn't crying one bit. Listen, we were interested. We had questions upon questions upon questions. And I know a lot of you guys wanted to know about Aanu and her journey with Patrick. So we decided to go and grab her and have one of those fabulous, wonderful sit downs. Aanu, how are you doing?
Hey, Kojo. I'm good.
Hello.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm alive and I'm well and I'm full of life. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
And that's what we love to hear. You want to be full of life.
Listen, you know what I mean? Because you could easily be a dead man walking. I always say that. So the fact we're living in life, it's a good vibe. You feel me? Now, listen, you know what? This is my show, so don't out-sing me today, okay? Because, you know what I mean? I'm the only one that really sings here, so I don't want them to know they're singer than me. You know what I mean? So take it easy on me a little bit. Take it easy. But listen, welcome to the show. We appreciate you, and I cannot wait to get that deeper into some conversation. But before we do, we have a thing that we do here. It's called human verification. Yeah, this is an icebreaker. We got to make sure that you're human and not AI. So I want to ask some questions if that's okay with you.
Okay, cool.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So here's my first question. One word to describe your experience on Love is Blind.
Scandalous.
Ooh. Scandalous. You know what? That makes me think of a song. So scandalous.
So scandalous. Yeah, I think it was. I think it was quite scandalous. Yeah, my experience.
Okay, I like that. Scandalous. Okay, I like it. All right. If you could go anywhere in the world, you have a plane ticket, and go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere.
As in what, for a holiday?
As a holiday, yes.
Oh, as a holiday. I'd love to go to Bora Bora, only because I saw it on the Kardashians.
And what would one be doing at Bora Bora in this place?
Well, it just looked amazing. Like I think the place they were staying at was like £10,000 a night. So if I could do Bora Bora, that's what yeah, it looked amazing. Yeah. So yeah, when I saw that on the episode of like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, I was like, oh, I want to go to Bora Bora. It looks amazing. So yeah, let's try Bora Bora.
Hey, listen, if we can afford that, listen, invite me too. Because if you can go Bora Bora, I can go with you, okay? Because I ain't spending 10K for nothing. You feel me? Okay. My final question in my icebreaker is a real icebreaker. This is going to make sure we know if we're going to be getting along today, okay? Because you know, usually I'm with the Americans, but today I'm with the UK people then. So I need to make sure that they don't think I'm crazy, okay? So the question is, we need to know, is it the milk or is it the cereal in the bowl first? Don't embarrass us now.
Yeah, but this is what I do though. But I put. But it depends what I'm having. It depends what cereal I'm having. Because if I'm having cornflakes, I warm up the milk first, and then I put the cornflakes in to make it soggy because I like it soggy. But if I'm having like a cold cereal like Cocoa Pops, I would do. What do? I put the cereal first and then the milk.
You know what? Thank you for vindicating me. When I said that, you know, I put the milk in first, these people thought I was crazy. You know what I'm saying to you? But you see, you told them.
Yeah, but is it warm? Are you warming the milk though?
You have to be very careful with the warm because you know you can go a little bit too warm, and then it becomes a little bit, you know. But you know, with cornflakes, I can see you. You know what I mean? With cornflakes, I'm a Wheatos person. I don't really eat it now because you know it's not good for the body. But the Wheatos, I like mine with a warm milk as well. So I'm with you on that. Weetabix slaps. Weetabix slaps. That one is evaporated milk. I can't lie to you. I can't do the fresh milk.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know the evaporated milk? Don't you know it?
Yeah, but I don't have. You know, I'm quite health conscious though, so I even use almond milk, unsweetened.
Well, if you're there, you must go to soy milk. Well, then you must go the way, love. You know what I mean? Go. You're going to talk about health. Go all the way. Is it sweetened or unsweetened, the almond milk you're having?
Unsweetened, yeah.
Okay, you know what? I can rock with you. I mean, I transferred over to the almond milk myself recently. You know what I mean? Because
Health is wealth, right?
the lactose, yeah, it catch you. It can you up after a while. Your body's not the same anymore. You know what I mean?
I know. It's crazy, isn't it? Like as you get older, like your body just like you become like intolerant to certain things. But God forbid, though.
Exactly, because we'll have to have milk forever. You get me? Well, listen, you have passed our human verification. We believe you are a human. You're not AI and you're not a robot. So we appreciate you, Aanu, and welcome to the show. Well, listen, let's get deep immediately because, I like to move a little bit of ginger and speed here. You get me? So my first question is, Aanu, what is your story and who are you?
What is my story? And who am I? You have to be a bit more specific.
I left it open so you can take us on a journey. Feel free to take us. How would you describe who you are and what your story is? You have a story. This is my story.
This is my song.
Oh, we're on the same plane. I could put the spirit as one. You know what I mean?
Hilarious. Okay, but you have to be specific because there's loads of different avenues that I could go off, and I can just end up somewhere else.
Okay.
Sorry?
Okay, so I'll ask a specific question. You ready though? Hold on to your hats though, because we're gonna go deep real quick. Roller coaster style. You hear me? All right, cool. So let me ask a specific question. I think we saw you on the show. You are a Christian, a singer, you are a personality, a vibe, as one would say. I want to ask this question. What was little Aanu like before we got to this stage here? What was you like as a young individual?
Little Aanu was probably a bit more shy.
Okay.
Yeah, not as confrontational.
Mm.
But yeah, little Aanu was probably shy and a tomboy.
Oh, okay. So what happened that it transformed into this vivacious, confident, extroverted individual?
I think doing a lot of like extracurricular activities. So I used to do athletics. Obviously, I think every Black person used to do athletics at school. And then I did I did performing arts. So I did like drama, acting, and dancing. Singing at church as well. So I think doing all these extracurricular things. I went to drama school later on as well. So yeah, you just get more confident. You get more sure of yourself. You get more like, okay, this is what I'm good at, and this is what people like are acknowledging me for and affirming me about. Like, okay, you're a great singer, you're a great actress, you're a great sprinter, I wouldn't say a great dancer, but there'd be like, you're a great singer. So then that becomes your identity to some extent, and then you kind of know who you are a bit more, and you become more confident in that because you're good at something and people like you because of that. If that makes sense.
Now, you use an interesting word. You use the word identity, and I like that word. So I'm going to jump on the back of that. So identity for you now, right? You might have come more into your formation of what your identity is. But as a young individual, we all know we're African, grown up in Britain as well. You have the different dichotomy. You have the dichotomy of your British upbringing, and then obviously with your Nigerian background. What was it like for you growing up in the UK with your Nigerian heritage and background?
You know what's funny? I always get confused. So my mum was born in Nigeria and came over. So am I first generation? Yeah, first generation.
Yeah, she came over. Yeah.
So I'm first generation, like being like British born, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel like I was different until I went to secondary school and I was with like all the other like Nigerians and Ghanaians. But before that, I just was Aanu. No one made me feel like I was Nigerian or I was like this or like that, or I was Black or I was this or no one made me feel. I just felt like Aanu. I was known for more than just like my ethnicity, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But not like, for example, like I never really experienced that discrimination or racism as a kid, But then it's like when I then got into like secondary school and I got around more of like my community, like my peers, my age mates, that's when it's like, I don't know, it's sad to say as well, that's when it's kind of I got the comments like, are you bleaching, are you light skinned, are you
Trust
this,
me.
are you a real Nigerian, are you this, are you that? But obviously, like as a kid, we did visit Nigeria often, but I didn't feel different until I went to school, and then all these, everyone has their own opinions and comments and stuff, and you're like, oh wow, am I black enough? Am I Nigerian enough? Because I had a white stepdad growing up, so
Oh, wow.
I think. Yeah, so I think my upbringing was quite like a little bit different to my friends. Like we would go for like bike riding and camping trips and things like that. So I had quite like a well-rounded childhood. But then some of my friends would be like, wow, you've gone on a tent camping trip and stuff like
because you
that.
don't
You've
do
gone
that.
canoeing. Sorry?
Yeah, because black people don't usually do that. You're right.
Well, maybe they do now, but like back in the day, like in the 2000s,
We're not doing camping, and we're not doing that back in the day. Yeah.
I think it's quite foreign to hear like a black family going camping or doing a caravan trip or things like that. So I'm really fortunate that like I had my stepdad there to like do all those really like cool things with, wholesome things with, but to also kind of, he was the one that drove me to my singing lessons, drove me to athletics, like competitions. But so if I didn't have him, I wouldn't probably be this well-rounded, well-traveled, well-cultured person that I am now. So I had a pretty good childhood, I won't lie. Like I had a good childhood. It's when I got older and people start projecting their feelings onto you and they're like their insecurities, and you're like, wow, am I Nigerian enough? Am I black enough? Like, do I visit Nigeria enough? Do I like enough jollof rice? You start asking, like, because people start saying silly things to you. I guess when you're like a secondary school, that's when everyone's still figuring it out a little bit. But before then, I was a Nigerian girl in Essex. There wasn't many black people in my area then, but I never felt different. I promise you, in primary school, I was never made to feel different. I never felt like segregated. Now, if anything, I was favored in school. So yeah, I think I had a quite nice upbringing.
I love that. So for you then, I want you to describe this in one word. Your relation, because obviously having a stepdad is also an interesting dynamic, right? So for you, one word to describe your relationship with your stepdad growing up.
Like my relationship with him. Tumulus.
What was it?
Tumulus, is that a word?
Turbulent, or tumultuous.
What does that mean?
I mean, rocky.
Yeah, maybe rocky. Yeah, maybe rocky.
Okay, rocky. Okay, yeah, okay. I knew what you meant. I mean, Ghana and Nigeria, we know each other. We know that the West don't flow easy for us. You understand? So don't worry. I've got you covered. Okay, yeah. Okay, so fair enough. When you say we're gonna use the word tumultuous, why would you say the word tumultuous from your perspective?
Even though he was my stepdad, but we were quite similar. So that's why, we were quite similar in terms of.
How were you similar?
Yeah, I know, and maybe that's actually, even though he's my stepdad, but he came into my life when I was quite young. I was like 6. So I think maybe I took on a lot of his characteristics. Like you don't realize how you mirror your parents until you're older and you're like, oh, wow, this is what my mom used to do. This is what my stepdad used to do. This is what my sister used to do. And now I'm doing it. So I think as I grew up and started growing an opinion and an attitude, it's like, if he would say we're doing this, we're going there, I'd be like, hell no, I ain't going here, I ain't going there. But he also kind of, but he kind of also taught me to be like strong and to like fight.
Yeah.
Not physically.
Not physically,
Yeah, but like, for example,
yourself.
But for example, if he saw like an injustice, he would be the first person to call it out, the first person to try and help. Like my stepdad was very good at helping people, saving people, giving, and I think I learned that from him. So yeah, he made me realize not to stand for like bullcrap, and my sister as well. Like if people think I'm fiery, you should meet my family. My family's very fiery. So yeah, to be able to handle my household, you have to like stand on your 2 feet and be able to give it and get it back, kind of vibe. But also as Africans as well, we have quick tongues, so
yeah, that's a Nigerian. We can tell it's strong. It's in the blood. Okay, One word to then describe then your relationship with your mum growing up.
Supportive.
Okay.
Is that,
Okay.
yeah, like my mum's
Yeah.
extremely supportive, so yeah.
Okay. So expand that for us a little bit. Take us on a little bit of a journey. Why do you use the word supportive for your relationship with your mum growing up?
Because whatever I wanted to do, she let me do it. You know,
Mm,
if I wanted to be a singer, she was like, okay. And I wanted to do performing arts school, then I was in performing arts school the next week. You know, if I needed new running trainers, we were in the shop the next week buying new running trainers. If I needed singing lessons, and I told her it's this much, this is where I need to go. They're driving me and they're paying for the singing lessons. So yeah, my
mm.
mum is extremely supportive, listens, like prays for me, we pray together. So yeah, she's like my rock, you know. So she's extremely, so I don't think I'd be the person I am today if it wasn't like for my mum, really. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. So since you said obviously you take the traits of your mom and you take some traits of your stepdad as well, as you're growing up as well. I want you to ask the question: have you recognized some of the patterns, some of the behaviors that you've got from both parents, and how it has impacted you dating?
Yeah, I always want to save people.
Hmm. How do you want to save people? Why do you want to save them? Hmm?
No, I think it's because I'm used to seeing like my stepdad always wanting to save people. So, and I see that as a
Hmm.
positive trait. But unfortunately, it's like when you're like a good person and you're always
Hmm.
seeing the good in people, sometimes you ignore the
Yeah.
bad, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and sometimes like when you're so good, sometimes and when people are like kind of so bad or they struggle they struggle with that good and their bad side. I don't know,
Hmm.
you can unfortunately be like collateral damage to them figuring it out, you know? So that's why I probably struggled in dating, because it's like, not that I want to save people, because I actually don't, but it's just you
Hmm.
tend to see people that might be like a little bit, have like a bit of trauma, and that projects into like the relationship and things like that. But then you're hopeful, and I think as Christians as well, we're very hopeful and forgiving, and we give people grace. But sometimes you need to be hopeful, forgiving, let go and move on. You know, you need to know when to
Hmm.
move on. So I think that's what I now need to learn. Like, okay, I've given you grace, I'm trying to help you. If you don't want to help yourself, it's okay, I can only pray for you. Hasta la vista. Do you get what I mean?
So we call that on this channel a bit of a Bobina the Builder.
Yeah,
You
God
like
forbid
it,
though,
Bobina
not
the
anymore,
Builder.
God forbid.
Okay, okay, okay. So for you then, again, yeah, God forbid indeed. One word to describe your dating history.
um I don't know to describe it.
Mm,
Uh, Flavorsome.
okay. Ish, flavorsome. Seasoned. I like it. Okay. So flavorsome is the word we've chosen here. Why for you in the dating realm has it been flavorsome?
Flavorsome because like it's had so many different flavors
Mm,
like included in the ingredients that
mm,
maybe weren't needed, but flavorsome in terms of like um I've tasted something good and I'm like, okay, I've tasted bad. I'm like, oh, don't want to taste that
mm.
again. So yeah, it's flavorsome, spicy.
I like it. I heard the word. I had flavorsome. I had tasty. Okay. So then, what would you say then, in amongst all that ingredients and flavorsome, for you, right, has been the most impactful relationship to date, and why?
Sorry, what one? Sorry, what has been the most impactful relationship?
And why? Yes.
My first relationship was my most impactful because we ended up building a business together. And through
Wow.
that, yeah, through building that business, like we created like kind of a sort of security blanket financially for ourselves. So I think, yeah, building a business with my first partner was like really life changing actually. Cause then
Mm,
from that, I was able to start another business on my own. So yeah, and he also helped me see like the negative traits in myself and be like, okay, you need to work on this because it's not helping you win at life. So
mm,
yeah, he really helped me like grow as a person, grow as a woman, grow as in if I want to do something, he would help me do it. He would help me bring it into fruition. So I'd have the dreams and he'd be like, okay, let's do the action. So yeah, and as well, he was very kind. He was very kind. He was very patient. Yeah, so I think that's something that I really want in a future partner, someone that's kind and patient, but also someone that listens and is a dreamer too, but not just a dreamer, a doer as well. So that's what I learned from my first relationship. I grew quite a lot. So yeah.
Now, someone might ask, this man sounds amazing, sounds wonderful, sounds flavorsome. Yeah. One might ask, why did this relationship not continue? Because, when you speak about me, I see a slight smile, a little bit of a glow. You speak positively. So, one might ask or concur from the situation, why are we not chopping still?
You know what? Yeah, it's like, when you kind of grow up a bit. Yeah, I think you kind of grow up a bit and then that person doesn't grow with you. So I think when you've kind of grown up a bit, and as well, like, I guess I'm quite ambitious and driven, and it wasn't very natural for him to be ambitious and driven.
Fair enough.
Yeah, even though he was like great, and when he was on, but when he was off, he was off. So, and I don't want to feel like I have to keep motivating someone to want to do something, to be something. And I feel like it became that after a while. So, and as well, you don't want to be in a relationship with someone where you feel like you're becoming their mum, like telling them do this, telling them do that. And I think it started to become like that. And then it wasn't romantic anymore. It just felt like I was like, just felt like, I was just telling him, come on, do this, come on, do that. And I feel like I don't want to do that. You should want to do that. You should take the initiative, But he's a nice guy though. And this is a long time ago. So I don't know, 5-6 years ago. So obviously he could have changed growing up. But yeah, that's what. But yeah, that's why it ended, because it's just like I was dreaming for the stars and he was kind of here on earth.
I get you too. As you grow, you mature, and you realize that different pathways are opening up for each individual person. So I get it. Okay, so then obviously with dating, and because we're going to lead that into obviously you being on Love Is Blind, I guess the question I want to ask, someone might say, well, Aanu, pretty woman, beautiful, attractive, so you've got great qualities, you know what I mean? What's happening in the dating field that it's not going right?
You know what's the saying that people say, like, new level, different devil?
Ish, shataya.
or something along the lines, or like
You're on the right path.
Like, sorry?
You're on the right path.
Yeah, something along those lines. And I feel like, or like, sometimes this is a different one now, like different face, same devil. Yeah. And I feel like as well, sometimes I kept running into the same person, but in a different form. So I had to actually take a break from dating and be like, God, what am I doing wrong? Because I keep meeting the same sort of guy that doesn't work for me, actually brings me down. And yeah, what's the problem, God? So like I went on a hiatus for a bit to just do self-development, like do therapy, try to understand, pray, fast. And even now as well, I'm still not even like dating, because it's just like I want to kind of, I don't know, I feel I want to be really content and at peace with myself, and I don't want to have like idolatry to like a relationship or a man or anything. So I think it's like, yeah, I'm trying to like die to self, because what did they say, like for revival there needs to be a death, right? So and I think, sorry, that's a bit like, ooh, but
no, that's not good.
I feel like I just need to like die to self to really be in alignment with what God's purpose is for me. And I feel like marriage and relationship is of God, right? And as well, the whole point of marriage is to complete like your purpose in Christ. So we can't really just date anyone. You can't really just be with anyone. And I think I was trying to play God with my relationships too much. Yeah, and that's why I kept meeting the same sort of person. That wasn't good for me. So I was like, God, I'm giving it to you now, please.
Take the wheel.
Yeah, take the wheel, Lord Jesus. take Lord Jesus.
Take it now. take the wheel now. I definitely hear that, and I definitely resonate with that as well. And I love the fact that you mentioned Christ as well, because I think that's an important part for us who are believers. That we have to allow God to be instrumental in our choices. And to help us navigate that field, because He has long-term vision and long-term sight, so He can see far ahead into our life. You know what I mean? So when we invite Him into a situation, absolutely. It makes such a big difference as well. I guess I got a question with that then, and that's going to lead us into Love is Blind, which is, so what was the answer that God gave you? What is the type that you keep seeing, apart from you being the builder? What's the type you keep seeing out there, the devil with the same face?
The devil with the same face. I guess narcissistic men. And I remember hearing, I follow like a preacher online called like Tiffany Montgomery. She's that American preacher, and she actually changed like my approach to my spiritual life, in terms of like being kind of a student of her teachings. I thought, wow, I was doing child's play with Christ, but like when I kind of found her online, my sister actually sent her to me, and she was like, oh, you should do her fast. And I thought, oh, okay, why not? Yeah, but her fast year it's like a month-long fast, it's not a joke.
A long one still.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a fast track into the Bible, a fast track course into like knowing the Bible, understanding what we need to do as Christians, and like kind of gearing ourselves up with the word of Christ. And I've never, unfortunately, been taught that in church. I've been going to church since I was like 6. But then at the age of 27, when my sister sent her to me on like YouTube, she was like, oh, you should listen to this woman. She really helps. Like, and that's when I only started to memorize scripture, remind myself of God's promises for me. And to have that, you need to be meditating on the Bible. You need to be like obsessed with the Bible. You need to be obsessed with Christ. So, and that's only at 27. So I've been a Christian my whole life, listen good, but it's only at 27 that I'm now understanding what it takes to really know what does God want for me. Which is, sorry.
There's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah, but it just makes you think, oh God, why didn't I know this at 17 or 15 or 10? Why did it take me 27? It would have avoided so much like heartache and problems. And do you get what I mean? But you know what? Yeah, like everything happens for a reason. Every disappointment is like a blessing in disguise. And all these things are like, all this, like, think of Joseph in the Bible, right? I don't think Joseph ever wanted to go to prison. I don't think Joseph ever wanted to be sold into slavery. I don't think he ever wanted to be like abandoned by his brothers. However, look at his end goal. He then became like a governor of Egypt, right? Through all of those like negative situations. So I think it's all working together for our good, right? So
come on. I love that. And I love that you said that, because I think it's a powerful thing. Tiffany Montgomery, I know, does the bridal fast, is it saying?
Yeah. She does corporate fasts as well, like at the beginning of the month. But yeah, what's it called? Year of the Bride fast. Yeah.
Year of the Bride fast. That's the one. Yeah. So I know she's quite instrumental in helping a lot of ladies in that particular space. But a lot of us didn't know the gospel until later on in our years, because a lot of times, and sad to say, a lot of churches actually don't teach a lot about what the actual gospel actually is. So a lot of us know a lot of teachings around God and stuff like that, and things that we can apply to our daily life, but we actually don't know sometimes what the gospel is, and who God is, and what He's brings into our life, and who Christ is even. So it's understandable, like, that it's later on in your life. Some of us didn't get it till way later too. So we're just glad you got it. You know what I mean? So we're here, Sha. You know what I mean? So fair play. Okay. So then, talking obviously about accruing more knowledge, as I say, lack of knowledge, my people perish. How do we get to a place where we now go onto a show called Love is Blind? How do we get there? What is happening in your life at that point in time that you decide, now I'm going to apply to Love is Blind?
So my sister again. I think I wasn't doing great with dating or whatever. And I think my sister was like, why don't you just not date for a year? And I was like, okay, maybe. And then she was like, oh, why don't you do Love is Blind? And I thought, oh, really? She was like, yeah, why not? And then not to go back to the Bible again, but then I thought about like in Genesis with Isaac and Rebecca, right? And how Abraham told the servant, okay, it's time for my son to marry, but you have to go to my hometown to get like the village girl in it.
Mm-hmm.
Girls around here, I don't want my son to marry because they're unclean or whatever. So obviously the servant went to his hometown and prayed to God. He was like, give me Godspeed so that there will be ease. I want ease for finding this wife for Isaac. And obviously the requirements was that he will know who the wife is by she will give water to the camel and give water to him. So now he's at the well, and Rebecca comes and she doesn't even say anything. She just does it. She just goes to the camel, gives it water, goes to the servant, gives water, and then instantly he knows this is the one. And then they later find out that she's actually a part of like Abraham's bloodline. Like I know back in the day they did that. Don't do that now. But I think I just thought, okay, like look at how that kind of happened straight away, and how I've thought about it. I know in the Bible there's a scripture where it says like God makes the foolish things of the world wise and the wise things of the world foolish. So I thought, what an unconventional way to meet your partner, but what an amazing way to give glory to God. Right.
Amen.
So I think I was just thinking about, I was just trying to reference it all back to Christ and to the Bible and things to make sense of why, you know. So I thought, okay, and I think in the sense of like, I don't know, I was like, I'm not doing it right. So God, what, like, let's be open, let's see what happens. Like I said, like this is an unconventional way of meeting someone, but God is not conventional. God is very unconventional. So why not be open and see what happens? So yeah, that's the perspective that I was coming from.
The spirit is one. You know, the scripture I've been hearing all this week has been that, you know, that God uses the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. So you're definitely in spirit with that scripture. And yeah, God is absolutely the Isaac Rebecca situation, you know, is a powerful one, because, you know, we know that Abraham was like, nah, cuzzy, you're right. People around here don't even think about it. They're right back there. And the same thing happened to Jacob. Jacob went back as well to the family. So when God decides, he can decide to move mountains. You can do it really quick, you know what I mean? And I understand, without the crazy of dating, you can meet your one. And that's what Love is Blind essentially actually encapsulate, which is you could just go on a show a couple of days and you actually could meet the one that's for you. So I definitely understand that. Okay, so then going on to Love is Blind, okay, and getting onto the show as well. One word to describe, I'm not jumping ahead of myself. So, being on the show and being on Love is Blind, who were your connections on the show? Because we only saw Patrick, really, and Julie. But I know that my sis here, your ginger is strong. So, who else did you connect with?
So we first date 15 men, right? Like there's 15 girls and 15 guys. So we date everyone at first. And we only have 8 minutes to date everyone on the first day.
Wow.
I know, right? And then from then you have to kind of decipher who your like tops are. And obviously I believe in like being led. Obviously that's like what the Bible teaches as well, that the man like leads the home. So I was really gravitating towards the men that were portraying that in the pods, that were portraying that they were like very masculine, they wanted to lead, that were traditional, that loved their family orientated. So my tops actually were, who do you think my tops were? Oh, I guess you don't know everyone, but from the people you know, do you think any of them were in my tops?
From the people that we saw on the show, none of them could be top. None of them. But the funniest thing is, I actually thought if someone was going to be top, although I don't know how much they do, it's actually Javen, because I thought his energy was quite present in that way, right? But everyone else is a bit more. Even Patrick was a little bit, it was a bit passive. I was like, so I don't know. I didn't think anybody really would have been your top if I look at it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I didn't think anybody would be a top, if I'm honest.
Yeah. And I agree with you actually. And that's, but I'm going ahead of myself. But that's why, like, now knowing Javen, we're actually quite like, we actually get on quite well, and we're quite like similar in the way we kind of show up in the world. Like we're both like quite ambitious. We're quite very, very honest, very straight people. So yeah, I think what he says to me is that he thought me and him would argue a lot because I would challenge him basically. Yeah, because I'll tell him, no, you can't do that. You can't do that.
You let him know it's not around here. You let him know you can't do that around here. Yeah, I can see that. I can see it because I think of all the men that I saw on the show, I don't know. I wasn't really seeing any. They all looked a bit passive. You know what I mean? So I couldn't see. I said I thought Javon was. I can see Javon. He's a bit of a bad boy, but yeah, that was the only one I could think of. Okay, so okay. Aside, so wait, did you and Javon actually have a connection in the
No, we
pods? I
didn't.
know obviously you get to speak. Oh,
No, we
okay.
didn't. So okay, so your this will surprise you. So my top actually was Cal. Then it was a guy, Cal. Then it was a guy called Charlie. Then it was Jed. Then it was Demola. Then it was Patrick. And then Javem was probably way down the line. Maybe Javem was like 6 or 7.
Let's not even waste time. How? No,
Because he was
Cal,
very
how?
massive. He came because he was like, that's the thing. None of the guys apart from really Jed and Cal were I didn't date Javen much. So maybe he was also doing that. But when I was spent the time with Jed and Cal, they were very much like, I'm traditional, I'll lead.
Jed definitely, yeah, true.
Yeah, I'm a family, I'm a provider. Cal read a lot. He was very like, he seemed like he was very, he made an effort to kind of to expand his mindset, his knowledge. And I also read a lot, and we were in alignment. And like gym as well, like I like to go to the gym. I think Cal was the only one, and Javen, but me and Javen didn't chat, so I don't know. But Cal was the only one that's saying to me he goes gym like 5 or 6 times a week. I was like, same. So I like someone that's also like healthy, that cares about. So we had a lot of things in common, funny enough. So I dated him quite a bit as well. Yeah.
Oh, we need to just want to tap into that a little bit, because I think Carl's a bit more. It seems a little bit more cerebral, right? That's why I see with Carl. It feels like he's a bit more cerebral. What was your experience of dating Carl? Because obviously on the show we see what happens with his particular aspect. I thought he was. We talk about attachment styles here, so I kind of see where he was coming from. He's a bit more detached. But what was your experience of Carl dating him? Because we need to understand a little bit here.
But remember as well, when we're in the pods, people are putting like their best foot forward. They're putting their best face on. So we're not really getting to see the person, because they also could be just being like textbook masculine man, textbook traditional man, So, but my experience with Carl, like our first few dates, we really got on because like we said about the gym, we actually did speak about me being a Christian, and he was like, he's open to it. But obviously as Christians, we should be dating Christians, but there wasn't really any Christians in there. So I had to do my best with what I had. So yeah. And then what else? We spoke about being a business owner because he runs the gym with his his brother. I'm also a business owner. What else? We just got on. I don't know if we had like a sense of humor, but we just got on in terms of like morals and our values and our lifestyles. He's very disciplined. I'm very disciplined. Well, I'd like to think I am. He's like sense of lifestyle, kind of just does what he wants. I kind of do what I want. So I think we just were in alignment with a lot of things. And he was like, no, I believe in kind of always leading, always paying, always doing stuff like that. But that's what he portrayed to me. So that's why he was like my number one connection, because he was the only one that was very vocal about being, I'm the man, I'll lead, I'll provide. Yeah, basically no one else was really giving me that sort of energy.
Okay. So wait, even Jed, because Jed seems like he's about that life.
Yeah, Jed, I only dated Jed, I think maybe once
Okay,
as well. Enough. Jed was hot property. A lot of girls like Jed in there. Jed. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, so okay, and we're going down the list now. So we've got past the Jed now, and I see where the flavors are coming from. Okay, so then we'll get to the part where obviously now we're getting to the mullah.
Yeah.
What's happening there? Oh, I want to know what's happening there.
Oh, what? As in when we were dating?
Yeah. What's happened? How do we get there?
The thing is, with me and Demola, we've just bickered like brother and sister. So that's just, yeah. And I don't know why. I don't know what it is. But like, basically, so we were dating quite a bit. Our dates were very fun. We were speaking about like our culture, speaking about if we got married, like how it would be in like traditional, like in our traditionals and things like that. We were speaking about like, what else were we speaking about? Yeah, it was just like banter. But the thing is, yeah, so obviously we're dating all the other people, and basically maybe like a little bit further down the line, maybe like 5 or 6 days in, Demila then gives Katisha flowers and writes her a poem. And in the process, that's quite a big, declaration of love.
Chineke. Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, that's quite a
Mm-hmm.
big declaration, especially in that sort of process where we don't have our phones, we can't speak to our family or friends, we're just around these women that were also dating the same men. So if I'm best friends with Katisha and she gets flowers and a poem from Demila and I'm dating him too, how's that going to make me feel? I'm not going to feel great. And this is that marriage. I don't want to be a second option. So unfortunately, the girls that Demila was dating, we were friends. So me, Yolanda, and Laurie don't really see them, but we were all dating Demila.
Yeah.
And he was dating Katisha, and we weren't really close with Katisha. But yeah, so we saw this declaration of love, and we're like, screw that. Like, you can go have Katisha. We will stay over here and things like that. So our last day, me and Demila, he was still acting very interested in me, and I thought, do you not know that you just sent a girl flowers and we all know about it? So I just said to him, like, bro, you doing that, you've immediately like cut all of us out. Like, we're not interested anymore because you basically said this is the girl I want. Yeah. And then me and him, we had like a bit of a back and forth, and then I called him sassy. He was upset with that. And then
Wait, well, why do you call him sassy?
Because he was being sassy. Oh yeah, because he said he was being sassy.
He's got the pride. Why do you call him sassy?
I called him sassy because he was being sassy. I think he said something along the lines of like, I didn't lie though. And I was like, yeah, but you was being dishonest. You didn't say the truth about like what's going on with your other connection. He was like, yeah, but I'm not lying. So he was just, and I was like, stop being sassy. Like, it's okay. And then he went quiet. And I was like, should we just end the date then? And he was like, yeah. And then we ended the date. And then I was like, well, good luck with you, Katisha. I hope you get married. Bye. And then I left the room, and then that was it.
So, but what? Okay, so around the ball, they just have to understand something, or the ginger is strong here. So, in this situation, did you also, because you're in the girls' lounge, right? So, what was Katisha saying then? Did she also say that that relationship is strong? Because I don't understand. Common flowers, you are gingering yourself to say you're not going to date anymore. What I want to know, was Katisha also saying that that's their, is that they're connected like that? Is that why you didn't want to date him? Because common flowers, we can all,
No, but it wasn't just flowers. It was a poem. He wrote a poem for her and things like that.
Oh, but yours was coming now.
But the thing is, yeah, so when a guy says, so Kieran and Megan, the ones that are still married now, Kieran was the first guy to give a gift to Megan. And then that like shook up the whole thing. Everyone was like, right, you can give people gifts. Right, you can do that. And then that kind of was very territorial, like him saying, this is my woman, this is the one I want. Yeah, it's quite a big deal in that small kind of community, because it's like, basically, because if a guy gives the flowers to a girl, that means you're out of the picture, essentially. Like, because then you kind of have to beg the guy to like you more than that person. That's essentially what you need to do. No, because how would you feel if a girl gave you, or a girl like told you her favorite dinner place and booked it for you for your birthday? Booked it for you for the birthday. Okay, no. So I'm dating you and somebody else, and that guy, Javen, and I've booked Javen the fanciest place that he wanted to go for his birthday, but for you, we just went on a walk for your birthday.
I can see what you're saying.
You see what I mean? Like the kind of effort. There was a lot more effort. There was a lot more intention with that person. But with you, we didn't even get anything, So you've already said, this is my number one. And as well, remember, if Demila now doesn't like you anymore, you can now be asked to leave the process.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, you can be asked to, like you can also leave. You can choose to leave. But like, if you don't have any more connections, you can like be out of there. So it's also kind of like Hunger Games in a sense.
Yeah.
So if you're chasing a guy that isn't 100% on you, you need to actually find your next option. So
quick.
Yeah. Hence why I ended up with like Patrick, because Patrick, even though he likes to say he didn't pursue me or didn't like me or whatever, I don't know why I kept on ending up with dates with Patrick when, look, my tops were like Cal, Charlie, Jed, and Demila. So I don't know why I kept getting Patrick. Clearly he kept putting me top on his list, and eventually like we built a connection, a strong connection, and I just kept seeing him.
Talking of Patrick, which is a good segue there. You said obviously then it sounded like it then fell onto Patrick. So it's like, I mean, if we're saying about wanting someone, it sounds like you kind of fell on this one. This one is not like.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I did, because I didn't want him
Okay.
at first. Yeah, let's be honest. No, I didn't. I wasn't checking for him. But what I've heard online as well, that he said he wasn't checking for me either. But I don't know. I kept ending up on dates with him, so he must have been, because we wouldn't have ended up on dates with each other.
Fair.
Well, that's what I'm assuming anyway. Like we wouldn't, because we would have had to have been, because if he was at least in my top 5, and if I was in his top 2, then I'd be a priority on. And if I'm not a top in Cal, Jed, or Charlie's or Demila's, then I'm gonna see then Patrick's gonna be the one that I'll end up seeing. If that makes sense.
It's interesting. So he didn't choose you, you didn't choose him, but you end up being together.
Yeah, but or maybe he did choose me. I don't know, but yeah.
But I mean, you chose him. It's okay. It's okay. And we can be okay. Listen, it's me and you. We're here together. I'm supporting you. You chose him at the top.
Eventually, I did. After like
okay.
Yeah, eventually I did. Yeah, eventually I did. Yeah.
Is that okay? So let me ask a question. Is that familiar? That particular aspect where maybe you like someone just because they like you?
No. Yeah. Like in the real world. No, but I do go off character, and Patrick showed me really good character in the pods, so that's why I ended up really liking him, because he made me feel really safe and secure. Like the sort of conversations we would have were really mature. We're about the future. We're about how we wanted to like show up in the world. Was about how we wanted to bring up our kids, was about serving. That's the thing. Even though he didn't say he was a Christian, but he displayed Christian characteristics and behaviors to me in the pods. Well, vocally did anyway. He also said that it was going to convert to Christianity for me. So we said the Lord's Prayer in there, Psalm 23. So that's the thing. Yeah, I know, but you didn't see this, sadly. So our connection actually is a lot deeper than what you saw. He said that he'd look after me, he'd provide for me. Once we get engaged, we'd get married, then we'd travel, go to Japan. Yeah, he was saying all these things to me. So that's why I eventually like started to like him and enjoy his company.
Hey, after not choosing you and you not choosing him, we're making. Okay, wait. So what? Okay, so break us in a little bit, because obviously, of course, we see what we see in terms of the edit, right? So he said all of those kind of things. What aspects of him then were attractive to you then? So I know that he said I hear that you said obviously he's willing to convert, all those kind of things. But what were some of the things about him that made you attracted to him in the end anyway? Because you said he made you feel safe. And I think that's a very important part in dating, and a very important part in terms of attraction actually as well. What were some of the things that he showed himself to be that made you really attracted to him?
You know what? Yeah, it might be weird, but his selflessness. He seemed like he was extremely selfless. He seemed like he was extremely like empathetic. And I've said this a million times online and stuff, but like he was the only guy who saw me and chose to validate me and make me feel special. Like no one else really validated me or made me feel special. Like I could get really deep with him, and he'd be like, wow, I'm really kind of impressed by you. And I'm really like, I feel like if we ended up doing this process together, like I would grow with you, you would challenge me, we would like build a really beautiful life together. So he was extremely complimentary, extremely like kind, and he listened to me. So unlike the cow or the Demila, he actually listened and took the time to listen and understand. So yeah, that's what I really enjoyed about him. And I said this before, but like one of the dates where it was kind of like a light bulb moment for me was where one of the questions was, if we had £10,000, what would we do with it? And he asked me first, and I was like, oh, I'd give it to my family to pay off any debts. And he said that he'd go to a bank point, take out as much as possible and give it out. And I thought, wow, I know. And when you say that to a Christian, like That's the thing, is he was the best out of a bunch. You know, he was the best out of the bunch. You know, seemed the most selfless, the most kind of self-aware as well. And I thought, wow, if that's how you want to show up in the world, like, I want to be led by you. I want to be led by someone that wants to give, that wants to serve, that doesn't mind being without, but to give to others. Because I think that's also the foundation of Christianity, right? To serve. And that's the vibes that I was getting from him. He also said about homeschool. He's a teacher, actually. So he also said, so I know all this human design, but he's actually a teacher. He's a qualified teacher. So he said about homeschooling kids, and that's something that I'm interested in, homeschooling my kids too. So funny enough, even though it seems like we were worlds apart, we were very, very similar in a lot of things. So that's how we connected, really.
You know what? That £10,000 answer took me all the way out. Okay, I'm Christian too, but let me tell you this now. I'm gonna be using that money to my own. Okay, all right. We got bills, we got things to do with it. Okay, all right. So yeah, I definitely hear you, though. I can see the selflessness aspect. I do have a question then, because you mentioned about him listening to you and validating you, and also the selflessness as well. A lot of times when we talk about this channel, we talk about how, and it's what we coach as well, to talk about people and what they've experienced. And it's almost a double back. So growing up then, did you feel validated? Did you feel heard?
You know, I think, I don't know who I was talking to, actually, where I feel like, I don't know if it's like being a black girl in the UK, or maybe being like the youngest girl. Even though, yeah, my parents would take me to sports and all that stuff and but then maybe emotionally, maybe I didn't feel heard. I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure. However, though, if I ever went up to my mom and said, "Mom, I'm feeling like this," like, she would listen. But maybe as a kid, I wasn't as vocal. Like I said, I was shy, so maybe I just wasn't as vocal about maybe what I was going through and things like that. But as an adult, though, I'm very vocal. I'm very confrontational. I'm very direct. But I don't know. I don't know if it's a thing as a kid, like not feeling validated, not feeling heard. I just think, yeah, in this world, I think I've had to kind of fight for everything I've wanted, or like my business, I've had to fight for, like the other stuff I've had to fight for, like being chosen in auditions and stuff, I've had to fight for. I think I've just always had to fight. You know, fight to be seen. And then, especially like in relationships as well, like you feel like your partner sees you, but then they don't, because they end it or something. So then you didn't really see me, you didn't really value me, you didn't really see this lifelong future with me, because if you did, you wouldn't have ended it, you know? So yeah, I think for me, though, it's important for a partner to see my value, to see my worth, and vice versa, so that we can grow together, really. Yeah. This
Thanks for
feels
sharing that.
like a therapy session, Kojo.
Well, you know what it is. That's what they always say when they come on here. You know what I mean? I can't help it. My spirit, we just, it counsels. You know what I mean? Okay. So with that being said, then with you and Patrick, because there's a scene where like you're eating sushi, and it's like it might have been Edit, because I know the way Edit likes to play games, right? Like he's asked you a question. I can't remember what the question was, but it seemed like it was a very important question for him, right? And then it's almost like you're not answering. You're just chewing the sushi. Like you're deep in the food, and you know how black people are. We know we're in our food, in it, but it felt like you weren't answering the question, and it felt like there was a disconnect that was happening, even from your side. So as much as you guys were connected, it felt like there was a disconnect. And I actually said it in my review. I said, I think Anu, while she might like this guy, I said I don't know how much she's actually invested in this guy, because I felt like you were disconnecting at a point. I felt like you weren't necessarily there as connected. So from your experience, did you feel there was any kind of disconnection from your end in terms of how you dealt with Patrick? Because the editing showed it like you weren't really caring, you're just eating the food.
You know what? I'll tell you, like, first thing, that sushi wasn't that nice. But we weren't getting sushi on a regular, so I was just grateful for the sushi and the ginger and the soy sauce. But we weren't getting that on a regular, so I was grateful for it. And as well, yeah. So even though our first date is 8 minutes long, that was the second to last date, which you saw, and that was about an hour and a half or 2 hours long. I remember you guys only saw, what, 2 minutes of it. So do you really think I'm going to be doing this like for two hours? It didn't go like that, really. It, like, that day, actually, we actually affirmed each other even more. that day, actually, he said how his dad would love me, how we'd travel together, how we're excited to do the process together, how he'd look after me. Like, that date was actually the date where I thought, like, oh snap, he's gonna propose then, you know. So yeah, that date didn't really go like that. I think basically I might have been screw facing because he said on that date how he paints his nails, and that's not really my vibe. Obviously, if you guys do, if whoever does that, cool, well, like, have fun. But for me, like, I really like men that are quite like traditional and things like that, and that's just not my vibe. So I think when I heard that, I was a bit like, I don't know if that's for me, like, because we had a spa day. He was like, oh, do you get your nails done and stuff like that? And I was like, yeah, I do. And he was like, oh, well, I do, like, sometimes I paint my nails like black, or I paint it like hot pink. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's for me. So maybe that's probably what my face was like doing. But I was still open-minded. I was like, you know what, this is a process. I think I said to him, I'd have to see it to see how it would make me feel. And yeah, but regardless of that, the date was a good date, actually. Yeah. Well, on my side anyway. I don't know what he was feeling on his side, but from my side, he was affirming me. He was saying how much, like, he wants to do the process and stuff like that with me. So yeah.
So did he give you any indication before the big chop? Did he give you any indication that, you know what, he may be feeling a disconnect between the two of you?
No.
Okay. So there's no real conversation, nothing that he felt like, you know.
And that's why I felt like I was blindsided, because that last day, so the date where I'm wearing yellow and I'm eating the sushi, that was like 16 hours before the proposal date. And then all of a sudden he's come in and just said, yeah, I'm ending this. But it's like, I didn't even know you weren't feeling it. Yeah.
Okay, I get why you say you're blindsided. Okay. So quickly fast forward into another time. The way you came into the mixer at the end, we need to understand what happened, because why does the energy go on 10 with Patrick? Or do we miss something? Because, baby girl, before you even said about his cap that was on his head, you guys were doing a kumbaya moment where you were hugging everybody, and I could see that you even skipped him. I don't know if that's editing, but you even skipped him. You understand? So there was already a 9.5 energy coming at that point before it got to 10. So what was going on for you? I know you said he didn't message you or anything like that, but what was going on for you in terms of why, you know, you came into that mixer the way that you did?
I'm curious, what was your thoughts? I want to hear what your thoughts were first.
Me personally, I think there was from what we saw, overinvestment in the whole scenario, because I was unsure as to how two people, and I said this in my reviews, I said, first and foremost, you're a Christian, and he never professed to be a Christian. So even if he decides he wants to change, I was like, it'd be too early. And I felt like you overinvested in him, which kind of makes sense with the bodybuilder stuff. But I felt like you overinvested, and I felt like you, obviously, when he said no, it hit a deeper wound of rejection. And then I think there was meant to be there was meant to be some conversation I was meant to have an after, and maybe he didn't really want to have that conversation. And then it's like, it's very painful when someone does that, right? It's like a rejection again. And so obviously when you see him, I'm looking at it going, okay, you almost want to give him a bit of boss bass back, right? Like you can't reject me and then think we're going to be cool and everything like that. Do you get me? That's how I saw it. You know what I mean? The cap part where you said about his cap's not even nice on his head, that for me was like, I feel that's more of a TV moment. You know what I mean? Like I feel like, yeah, I think you put a 2 on 10 for a little bit of the TV, number one, you know, because you're a little bit I feel like you're a little bit of an actress. Yeah. So I don't know, you put a 2 on 10. But I also felt like it was a little bit of a get back, right? It's like sometimes when you're hurting and someone does something to you, this is your way of kind of like saying that I do care, but I'm pissed off at you and you hurt me, and I want you to know that, but I can't say that you hurt me in that way, so I gotta kind of attack you. That's what I saw in that space. You know what I mean?
Okay, cool. So, okay, cool. Okay, so first of all, I just want to address the rejection comment, because I've been seeing that a lot online. And I'm a singer, I'm an entertainer. I guess you are as well. And I've been doing this since I was 18, like professionally. So I'm used to no's. I'm used to saying you're not good enough. I'm used to like, you're not pretty enough, you're not tall enough, you're not black enough, you're not this enough, your voice is too strong, your voice is do this. I'm used to getting no's. I have no problem with rejection. So that's one thing I want to put out there. Like, and it's sad to say, but I wasn't in love with the guy. He wasn't in love with me. I wasn't the scene at the end where I am crying. is actually I went into the date hyperventilating because I was nervous about being proposed to, because I'd never been proposed to before. So I was actually hyperventilating about that. And the time I recall crying was when the date actually ended. So he ended it. He said, we're not in alignment, my spleen, whatever. And I said, okay, thank you. I was actually quite graceful. And then the date had actually ended. And then I sat back, and I talk to myself a lot anyway. I sat back, and then I said, wow, when you're kind and it's not enough. And then I shed a bit of a tear. And it wasn't at him, it was a thought of what I've been saying. When someone says that they see you, but did you really see me? Because it wasn't enough for you to make that commitment. So it was triggering in that sense with that scenario. But then moving forward to the mixer, the reason why I said, how come you've not messaged me? Because now at this point, we're all like friends. We're all hanging out. We're all doing dinners. We're all going to each other's birthdays. We're all spending time with each other. And everyone whoever's connected with someone has messaged the other person or spoken to them directly. Yet Patrick is the only one who's not spoken to me. Since this day, still, if I look at our WhatsApp chat, it says nothing. And I just think, who is this guy? Because you're meant to be a spiritual coach, you're meant to be a life coach, a human design coach. And to be that, you need to have empathy, you need to have kindness, you need to have awareness and concern for others. But he's not showing any of that towards me. So I'm confused, because in the pods he was showing me something. His job title also says he should be something, but then what he's physically showing me is something else. So that was confusing. And then I had found out, when I then came out and I'm speaking to all the guys now, they're looking at me like I'm mad. Because I'm like, oh no, I'm really disappointed. And they're looking at me like, why are you disappointed? And I was like, because this guy said he was going to propose to me and he didn't. They said, well, he told us from early his wife wasn't here. He told us from early he has no connection. And I'm like, what? So he's now making me look crazy out on these streets. Like, because I'm, telling me all these things, but then going back to the lounge and telling the guy something else. And that's what actually peed me off a little bit, because I remember the scene after he didn't propose to me, the scene where the guys asked him, was she expecting a proposal? And he was like, yeah, I don't know why she was. And I thought, rah, this guy's a compulsive liar, because he really led me on. And then obviously fast forwarding back to the mixer, he then was spouting a lot of lies about me. He then was making up things. He then was like plotting like little dots of chaos between me and others that weren't true. Even me and Demila argued at that mixer. Me and Katisha argued at that mixer, all because of Patrick. So Patrick was like, I don't know why he was doing it. I honestly don't know why. And that's why I was so upset, because I was just like, and everyone was believing him. So I was just like, what the hell? Why are people just taking this guy's word for everything and not seeing me again? So that's why I was kind of. But number one, though, why I didn't hug him is because, number one, you've not texted me, so now you expect a hug from me. That's weird. And as well, he always made an effort to show up when cameras were there, but never made an effort when there was no cameras to speak to me. Jav had a birthday. Jav invited all of us. Did he come? He was scared. He was too scared to come, because he didn't want me to confront him. Dinner, Soho House, whatever. He would say he'll come. He sees my name there, he doesn't come. But then when a camera's there, you now want to give me a hug. What does that say, Kojo? What does that say? You're 33, you know better. Well, not you, but him. Like, what, So there's that. So I'm just putting two and two together. And then he's spewing all these lies about me. And then when we now come to speak, he's now said another lie about me on camera. And I'm just like, what? Where did this come from? He's like, you've said something horrible about me. I said, what have I said then? Because if I've said something, let me either stick up for myself, tell you it's true, or tell you it's a lie. But he's just spewing, he's like manipulating people. He's just doing a madness. But anyway, I started the conversation kind and calm. And then when I was trying to get my point across, he kept speaking over me. He wasn't letting me speak. And then his voice was like getting louder as well. And basically I just lost my patience. I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're not listening to me. I can't be bothered. So I just started singing and making a laugh and joke out of it. And I know people are saying that I was trying to get my TV moment, but I'm also a singer. I'm an entertainer. If you meet my friends, we're all the same, and they're probably even worse than me. I'm also Nigerian, so it's very normal for us to like take the mick out of someone, or to like pick at something, or like my sister would be like, okay, maybe I'd have dry hands. My sister would be like, oh, Annie, your hands are dry like the desert. You know, this is the sort of humor we have. I know maybe to some people you might think that's rude, but that's the sort of humor I'm used to. And when I watched it with my family, they laughed. You know, when I speak to my friends, they laughed. When that's our sense of humor, that's our banter. So I wasn't doing it for a TV moment. I couldn't care less about a TV moment. I'm a singer. I've done TV countless of times. I've toured the world. I don't give a crap. You know, I honestly don't. I was there for a husband. I was there to be intentional. I was there to find love. And unfortunately, what I got back was hate, was vengefulness, was spitefulness. And it's unfortunate that people don't see that. But my experience wasn't a nice one because of him. And you know, it's sad because we really connected. And if he wasn't doing all of this stuff afterwards, even if he was lying to the guy saying I have no connection, okay, whatever, I don't care. But it's what he did afterwards that was unkind. And if he didn't do that, I could have been friends with him. I'm friends with everybody else. Like, well, I shouldn't have an issue with you. But now that I know there's new stuff that have come out about him, now I understand that this guy had a plan and I was just collateral damage. I was just the unfortunate girl that he picked. And a year ago, he was very vengeful. And a year now, the show is out, he's vengeful again. So this is the character that this person has. This is the real him. This is how he operates. And unfortunately, in the pods, that beautiful connection, I don't know who that person was. I don't know if that's him. But it's sad because that would have been a nice way to remember him by. But he's just ruined it by his actions now, really.
When you say vengeful, what does that mean?
Vengeful. So he's been spouting things online about me that's very unkind and is not true. So I don't understand why really, because he's taken like low blows for no reason.
Okay, I have to work with that. You know what I mean?
If that gives you a bit more context on everything.
You know, we have to do a part two because, you know, so we can sit down properly and do this. I guess for then to round it for you then in that space, looking back at the scenario, because I always ask people this question. Looking back, what could you have done differently? Where would you take accountability in the situation?
Sorry, say that again?
I said, looking back, what would you do differently, and where would you say your accountability lies in this scenario?
Okay, be more specific though. Accountability about what?
With you and Patrick, right? Because I think there are several instances where one can be accountable in this scenario.
I agree. Okay, number one, really, Demola was the only one that could have been an option for marriage. However, I think he's still growing in his Christian journey, and that's fine because I am too. But where he wasn't where I was, so we weren't compatible in that sense. So maybe at that point, I probably should have left. I shouldn't have entertained Patrick. I think I should have left. But he was giving me hope that, okay, I've grown up though as a Christian and Catholic, so I know the fundamentals. I know the prayers. I will convert for you. You know, so when a guy's telling you that, you listen. You know, because I guess you want it. You want it a lot. And if this guy is saying I can give it to you, you adhere to it. So that's where I take accountability. I guess if Demola wasn't it, I should have left. In terms of what would I have done different? Because people ask me, do I regret going off at him at the mixer? And as well, I'll be honest, they gave me grace with my edit because I went off on him a lot more worse than what they showed. Yeah, I did. I was really mean. I'll tell you that for free. I honestly was really unkind. I was really mean, and they softened it up for me. So, and I'm thankful for that. Yeah, I'm thankful for that. But in terms of like, do I regret it? No, because I think this is how, like, and I'm not saying this in regards to Patrick, but in the world, this is how people still continue to do bad and wrong because they're not being held accountable. Yeah, maybe I could have done it calmer in a nicer way, but unfortunately, when someone's fighting dirty, I'm not saying you should go dirty, but you sometimes need to meet them where they're at so that they're listening. And I feel like in that situation, maybe I could have articulated myself better, but it ruffled him. You know, it ruffled him. And even since then, one of the girls actually told him, what you've done to her is bad karma, and that will come back around to you because it's not cool. So I think we shouldn't silence ourselves. And I feel like as well, I've gotten a lot of DMs saying, "Oh, you fitted the angry black woman edit, da 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 da." But what, I shouldn't then express my feelings on TV? I shouldn't hold someone accountable. Yeah, I was a bit more irate, right, than maybe the normal person, but I'm allowed to be emotional. I'm allowed to say my piece when someone has wronged me. Like, what's wrong with that? And maybe people need to do more of that. Maybe people need to be more honest with how they feel, more direct, more confrontational. And I think that's why a lot of people are scared of me, because I'm so direct. If I'm not happy with something, I'll tell you. If I don't agree with something, I'll tell you. And a lot of people are content with this perfect image, with Instagram, with how we look. But what does your heart say? What's your character? And that's what I was pulling him up on. Like, what is wrong with your character? Like, why are you doing this? I've done nothing to you. It doesn't make sense. So no, I don't regret telling him off. Maybe I could have done it a bit classier, but that's who I am though. I'm an emotional person. I'm expressive. I wear my heart on my sleeve. But my heart is pure. I do try to do the right thing. And if I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up. But if you're wrong, I'll tell you. So yeah, I think maybe I just should have left the process earlier. Maybe.
No, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the accountability that you took in that space as well. I think that's always a powerful piece as well. Because I think, from my perspective, watching you on the show and just actually now talking to you as well, like I said, I love your energy, I love your vibe. I can tell you're a kind-hearted person. You know what I mean? And it's really interesting just hearing you speak about your experiences. I think for me now, listening to your everything that's happened, I can get why that situation happened as it did with Patrick at the end. I can understand that, and I can have a bit more empathy towards that as well. I think for me, as a rounding kind of aspect summary in terms of what we've spoken about, I think what was intriguing is, and that's something I tell my clients a lot, which is that faith and belief are two different things. A lot of us have a belief, but we don't have faith. And the faith is the confidence and the trust we have in something. So it aligns with an action. So whenever the action is different from what we're actually trying to achieve, it means we're often operating in belief, not the faith. The belief is I can accept it to be true. And it's something interesting that you said when you said about the dating in terms of pecking order. Patrick was at the very bottom. And we've spoken about, obviously, your need to save and all those kind of things as well. And when I was listening, I was like, okay, so we got to the last person who both people are saying they didn't choose that person. That ain't the one. Right? Which is actually a form of self-betrayal. If that person is not the one for you, and then you accept them to come into your life and be like, actually, you know what? Usually that's a form of self-betrayal. And so what ends up when people do self-betrayal, what tends to happen is betrayal. That's the next thing. Because your spirit will tell you, your heart will tell you, your spleen will tell you, your spine will tell you that this is not the right person for you. You know what I mean? So it will tell you that, you know what, this is not what is for us. So to then go against that is you going against the domain of yourself, and that's treason. And whenever treason happens, off with the head. That's the next thing that happens. So that's why I was seeing. So I was like, okay, I can get why you went off from him in that particular aspect, and I can get why you went at him and said what you said in that particular aspect. And that's why I said earlier on in my assessment, I felt like you felt like he owed you a bit of kindness. And he's not going to do that. You know what I mean? As you now know, he's not going to do that because that's just not going to be him. And so, yeah, I wouldn't say too much. That's something else.
But, no, say it. I want to hear it. Don't say it.
I think with everything you said, if you look at, that's why I asked you earlier on about validation. I think validation is a huge thing for you. And I think someone validating you, someone listening to you is a form of you really being seen. And that actually, when it's not protected and guarded, will take you to arenas that are not worth your investment, right? So that this situation with Patrick can get in because there are many people like Patrick. I tell the ladies all the time, there's many men like Patrick who will sit there and listen to you. But a key thing also is within yourself, like, are you listening to you? Because sometimes what's happening is what you found is you found somewhere to rest finally, because maybe in your situations, you've always been the healer. So then the healer finds someone else who's also able to heal you. And so you go there and it's like, okay, I'm going to rest it because this feels like this is different. Someone else is now playing this role that I've always played for other people. And what ends up happening is that we're not checking what's going on with the person. So we're just kind of like, I finally got somewhere I can rest, but we don't recognize that this person isn't a safe place to actually rest. And so and that usually comes from what you've actually experienced in your training, which is our childhood. Our childhood is training us to accept or not to accept certain things. That's why I was asking you, oh, in your childhood, what did you need to be validated? And I think there's a lot more that you probably, if we had time, we would have gone there, but you'd explored it. You'd have seen that there's a lot more that happened in that childhood that actually affected you as the way that you see yourself, even in the future. Because when I asked you about, when I asked you about the Patrick situation, why you went off on him, when I first said it, I said the reason why you went off on him is because he was hurt, right? And then it's a get back. You said no, but then actually when you explained it, it was a get back. It was, you was getting it back a little bit.
Well, it was holding him accountable. Like, you don't treat people like that.
If I held you accountable the same way you held him accountable, would you think I'm holding you accountable?
Yeah, but like I said, and I know it's not good to play dirty, but he was playing dirty, Kojo. And he wasn't listening when I was calm. I was calm. I tried to approach him calmly. He wasn't listening. I said, okay, cool. Let's go then. Let's go arm for arm. Let's go band for band. You ain't going to listen, then let's go low. And yeah, and I'm a petty queen. I'll be honest. I'm petty. And that's what I said about the headscarf. I said a lot more too, but they only left that in.
That's cool. Listen, I get it. You know what I'm saying to you? I'm just saying that's my observation. You know, just to you know. And
but that's interesting though about the childhood thing though, because I don't know. That's interesting about, do I always feel like I needed to be validated? And I don't know. I don't know if I've always felt like I needed to be. I think, you know what, I've got two older sisters and I'm the angel child, basically. My sisters are lovely, but I'm a bit of the caretaker now, a little bit. Like, I've become the caretaker in the family a little bit, you know, and it's my responsibility as well to kind of look after my stepdad's passed away. So it's I've become like the man. It's okay. I've become like, and my mum and my sister lives in Ghana actually. So I'm like, yeah, she's married to a Ghanaian actually. So it's the same.
Yeah. I see you.
So I think I've always put like a huge responsibility on myself to want to look after, to want to make sure my family's okay, whoever's around me is okay. Like, I don't like, I feel like obviously my stepdad was there and he kind of was the only one that kind of was the caretaker. But then when that left, I then became the caretaker. So I have to validate everybody else's feelings. My feelings are the least out of everybody else's, if that makes sense. So maybe that's where that comes from, where everyone else's feelings are, but I'm not like sad about it, but that's just the way the pecking order went, I guess. And maybe that's with being the youngest as well. I'm not sure.
And that's actually precisely what you just described is exactly what happens. You had to abandon your needs in order to accommodate everybody else's. Yeah. So if you're having to caretake for everybody else, you've got to take care, because actually what ends up happening is you're used to training yourself to be a space of holding space for others, and that includes men. So and if you're somebody who's always giving to give space to people, you tend to meet people who are takers, which is what narcs usually are, the takers. You know what I mean? So that training that you have is beautiful because it's taught you how to open space to make it safe for everybody else. The other aspect, which is balance, which needs to, you've also got to be able to take too. So taking away that's balanced, not in a way of only when now my back's against the wall or that now I want to take. It's like, no, you're entitled to be able to say, I need this from you too. You know what I mean? The same way I'm giving you, I want it the same way back. And having that balance, that will stop those people that take from you only, because balanced people tend to find other balanced people because you can recognize the behavior and the patterns. So that's what I was kind of saying, is that aspect, you know, you deserve to be able to have someone who's going to give to you, you know, and not just take from you because you're a giver. You know what I mean? So that's just something I just want to highlight. That's all.
Amen. And the man should come then. Hallelujah.
we send him from the high hills. Well, listen, Aanu, thank you so much, and I appreciate you.
Joe. I want to do this again. Let me know.
Yeah, listen.
Let's chop it up.
Just chop it up. You know what I mean? Because I like your vibe. I like your energy. You know, you go with the buzz bars. You know what I mean? Yeah, I like the buzz bars. Okay, so for you, Aanu, as we're going, have you got anything going on at the moment that we can support, we can get behind, we can follow and give you a little rallying cry?
I guess just Instagram, just Aanu Music, like my name, AANU, and then music. So I guess Instagram. I'm a property developer, so that's my new endeavor. Yeah, I started that last year. So I want to start, and as well, like it's really important for me to like inspire and encourage like other like brown girls, black girls, maybe brown black boys. But for me, I didn't really grow up with like a black woman to like, obviously my mum, but my mum even just coming from Nigeria to UK is a big accomplishment, you know. So for her to hear now her daughter has businesses, her daughter's singing here, singing there, that's like bewilderment, you know. But for me now, I feel like where I am at my life, I want to inspire and encourage like other like young girls that, you know what, yeah, you can do it. You can have property. You can be a business owner. You can take risk and it's going to pay off. So that's what I'd love, like all the people from the communities to come follow my page in the journey, because I really want to inspire. I also want to share my journey with Christ, because I'm not perfect. I promise you, I'm really not. And I don't try to gas people up that I am. But I want to yeah, speak more about faith, speak more about opportunity, because me praying and fasting led me into doing property. So I think, yeah, I want to just get people to tunnel in on Christ, because you will never lose. So yeah, if you guys want to know more about that journey, yeah, know more about my journey, see where God takes me, like, yeah, follow me on Instagram, TikTok. I'm a little bit shady, a little bit petty sometimes. I'm still working on it. But yeah, follow me, TikTok, Aanu Music, Instagram, Aanu Music. I might start putting it on YouTube, Aanu Music again. So yeah.
No, listen, thank you so much. And it's been a vibe, man. I love your energy. I think you're probably one of the first people that brought out the African side of me, you know, that I've interviewed. So I appreciate you allowing me that space to do so as well. So thank you very much, Anu, honestly, you know.
Oh, no, thank you, Kojo. And let's do this again.
Yes, we are. I'll send you a message as well. So on that as well. Listen, I know you got to go, but listen, audience members, thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't do anything I wouldn't do out there. Follow Anu as well. Okay, Anu Music on Instagram, and go show her love. Okay, let her know that I sent you. Okay, all right, you heard me correctly. Let her know I sent you. Okay, don't tag me, absolutely. But
Don't
just
tag
say
him.
quick, you know what I mean? If I get all those messages now. But listen, again, thank you so much. I appreciate you. You're a queen. You're blessed. And we appreciate you around here. Okay.
Yeah, no, thank you, Kojo. I appreciate you too. And I wish you all the best of your channel, all the best of your endeavors. And yeah, I pray for blessing, prosperity for the next 3 months of this year, that it's going to be amazing for you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. We receive thank you so much. Audience, don't do anything out there. It's crazy. Okay. We gotta go, but I appreciate y'all. Stay blessed, stay loaded. We'll see you again soon.
Little black book. You know what time it is.